All right. Good evening. Wow. All right. Well, thanks for joining. This microphone is really awful. I think, well, I can't turn it off, but you know what I could do? I'm going to turn the monitoring off. I'll just give me 1 second. All right. Well, I could see that you could hear me. I'm pinging the VU meter, so that's good. And I just will not hear myself through the cans or the headsets. Okay. Well, good evening, everybody. I'm Quantum Synths, and I'm live streaming. We'll try it again tonight. I think I've worked out almost all the audio issues. There is still one issue left, and I have not figured out a solution. Uh, and I will explain what that is in a minute. But I wanted to show everybody my setup. Let me. No, I can't get rid of the PCB rack window. There we go. All right, everybody. So I'm Quantum Sense. Thanks for joining tonight. So here's my new setup. This is what I tried to show last week with not a lot of success, mostly because of the audio. But I have figured out what was causing that constant hum in the audio. I don't know if I have a perfect solution, but we're not going to hear that tonight. I know how to avoid it for most of the recording, and it has to do with using VCV Rack with OBS, which is the streaming software from YouTube. And I will show you what I'm doing, and I will still try to figure it out, but not tonight. But I will avoid certain things, so we're not going to hear a constant hum or a beep, and that's a good thing. All right, so what I was trying to explain last week, and the audio was so bad, I don't know if anybody really heard, but I have moved. I'm moving everything into the Shira rack. This is a Behringer 140 times 2 case. I think they call it the Go. And it's 2 rows of 140 HP. So there's plenty of room. And I have a lot of modules coming in the next week. So this will definitely get filled up. But what I did put in here to start with was the two East Beasts from Create Audio. And I've had these for a long time. These are my favorite semi-synthesizers, fully patchable. And tonight, I'll show you how I use the generative sequencer on the East Beast to trigger a sequence quantized inside of VCV Rack, and then take the quantized pitch, because that is one kind of nitpicky thing that the East Beast sequencer, the generative sequencer, doesn't do. It doesn't quantize. And so then I am taking that signal back out of VCV Rack and sending it to this Oxy Choral, which is new. And this Choral is a polyphonic, multi-voice clone of plates or plats. Plates, we call it plates. I think it's plats, actually. We'll call it plats. I think they're German. So, so that's what I got, and that's really cool. And so I'll show you later how I'm doing that. So what I'm doing is sending the generative sequence from East Beast into VCV Rack, quantizing it, sending it back out, and playing the sequence in flats. And I think that's really cool. And I'll show you how I did that. I haven't actually even used this mixer yet, but it's here. Because one thing I've learned is that you definitely need mixers. And Some of the modules I have coming, I have the dual VCO from Behringer. I have a Erica quad VCA that does both linear and exponential curves on the VCA, and a whole bunch of other stuff. I did order the Qubits Nautilus, which is a delay unit, or we'll call it delay on steroids. And I ordered the Bloom from Qubits. So I'm excited to get those two modules. Oh, and also, so one piece that I had to really replace in my other rig was the audio interface, because I was using the Scarlett, Focusrite Scarlett audio interface, which is great. But it's not very portable, and the whole idea was to get this portable. So I have the Expert Sleepers ES9, and this allows me to communicate everything to my computer, to VCV Rack, and send things back and forth, and at the same time, it acts as my audio interface. So that's very cool. And then I have my trusty MIDI Cake ARP here, which I use, and my Novation 61 SL Mark III MIDI keyboard controller, which I love. All right, have I done a good job of mentioning all these companies? Nobody's sponsoring me, but hey, if you guys want to sponsor me, I'm here. Oh, I forgot to turn on my colored lights. All right, I'm trying to get some more focus. See if this is, that's too bright. So try to get things a little clearer. And you know I'm a sucker for colored lights. All right, now we're entering the zone. All right. Okay, so let's see. So what are we going to talk about tonight? So one of the things on the eSpeech that I love is it's so easy to, it's a 32-step sequencer, and it's really easy to program in. And I've talked about in the past that you could set probabilities and get like a pseudo generative sequencer with defined pitches. But I wanted to use their built-in generative sequencer because it not only will generate pitch, but it also creates rhythms. And the only downfall is that it doesn't quantize the pitches. And so for me, that made the whole thing kind of worthless. So, or to use the generative functions, I've used the sequencer where I programmed in the notes quite frequently. So anyway, so that was one of my goals with this whole thing. How do I quantize the generative sequence? Now, I did buy a module, a quantized module, but I bought it used, and it wasn't working correctly, so I sent it back. Okay, so now I'm back to software. So let me just play you. I think I have this queued up here. And let's give you a little taste of the sequence. There's a little taste of the generative sequence. And now let me show you how that's all working. And to do that, we're going to show VCV Rack. Okay, so for those who aren't aware, VCV Rack is a free modular software synthesizer. And so you can see all these modules I have here. You just basically drag and drop everything and place it in. It's kind of super easy. And you really get a good sense of what modular synthesizer is all about. And I will show you what I'm doing here because that may look complicated, but it's really just the cables. And ultimately, it's fairly straightforward. Okay, so I have this Expert Sleepers, and you probably can't see that at the moment. So let me turn that window off for a second. Okay, so here's the Expert Sleepers. And I have, from the East Beast, I have pitch and gate information going into these two inputs on the Expert Sleepers. Okay, so yellow is pitch and green is control voltage or modulation information. Okay, so now let's go back to VCV Rack. Okay, and so from those two inputs, which here are 9 and 10, so I have pitch coming into this quantizer, and I have the modulation, which here is a gate, coming into this envelope generator. And then the gate's coming in, the envelope is coming out, and it's sending the envelope back into this to device. So that's going back out into my Expert Sleepers. And the pitch information is getting quantized, right? It's coming in here and coming out of the quantizer into 16. So 15 and 16 are now coming into Expert Sleepers. And they're coming into these two inputs here. I don't have a long green cable, so I could use green. Sorry. So yellow is coming into the 1 volt per octave input. Red is coming into the trigger, which is the gate. And now we have a sequence that is generated from the East Beast and quantized in VCV Rack. Right? And so, right, we could do some nice filter sweeps. So now I'm going to play with the quantizer, with the sequencer on the East Beast. And so I'm going to regenerate the sequence. So now I just changed it to only work on 1 octave. It was set to 3 octaves. And I slowed the clock down. And I could just keep regenerating the sequence. Now I could turn on generative rhythms. And what's really cool is there's a morphing feature. And the sequence will automatically morph every 4 to 8 beats. All right, so now let me show you the patch I built in VCV Rack, because I could also play this in VCV Rack. Okay, so my VCV Rack is over here. So the first thing you'll see is here's the quantizer, and I've quantized it to be 4 notes, C, E, A, and B. And then using this 8-face module, I could switch between different notes in my, different quantize settings. So I've just made a few. And this makes it really easy, especially during a performance, to change quantized values. They have this knob here, but, if I'm this program knob, but honestly, if I'm going to start playing with that knob during a performance, it's not good. It's definitely not good. All right. So I'm going to turn VCV Rack on now. So we can hear the patches playing, the sequence playing inside of VCV Rack. Now you may hear a little bit of a click, and I finally figured out what was causing that. So what's happening is, so yellow is coming into the quantizer, and green is the trigger. And when they come back out to go back into my Euro Rack, 15 is the trigger, 16 is the pitch, and I showed you before how that's triggering the oxychoral. Well, this is creating noise. Even when everything is turned off inside of VCV Rack, something in OBS, I don't want to blame OBS and I don't want to blame VCV Rack, but there's definitely some interaction between OBS and VCV Rack that even with all the input levels turned down, there's bleed with this trigger and a little bleed from the pitch. And that's what is creating, this kind of rhythm, this constant rhythm. So as soon as I turn on VCV Rack, even with all this muted, master main is muted, you're going to start hearing a little click. And I don't hear it through the speakers or through my headset, but you should probably definitely be hearing it on the other end of OBS. So we'll live with that for now, because I'm going to turn the sequence on and then we'll listen to the sequence. Okay, so if I unmute this. Okay, so now it's the sequence generated by the East Beast, and this is going through Basel. Which is one of my favorite VCV Rack oscillators. And let me change, let me switch to a different quantization scale. And just to show you, it's also playing in the Oxy choral. Okay. And there's one more. So I have another patch going on in PCV rack. And that's this one here with the Onroy. I know I'm not saying that right, but right. And it's also getting pitch and trigger information. I'm not sure what's going on with the pitch there. Yeah, something's going on. But sounds good. And now I'll bring in the Oxy. And I'll bring in Basil now. And that's PCV rack. And change the tempo. All right. All right. So I hope you thought that was pretty cool. I did. And it's a lot of inspiration for me as I get ready to do my jams. And uh, that's really what I wanted to show you tonight. So I hope you've all found that informative. All right. Any comments? Feel free to put comments in the chat. I can answer questions or whatever. I hope you enjoy this. I'm going to jam out a little bit. And that generative sequence, right? I mean, you could set that and walk away, and you could start your own 24/7 YouTube channel playing generative music. it's really interesting how it just morphs into these really cool rhythmic and pitch uh, patterns uh, from the East Beast. You know, if they had put in a quantizer, it would have been perfect. But you know, there are ways to get quantization on your pitches. So maybe that was their intention. Uh, all right, so I am going to mute the microphone, and I am going to play. And you know, I should, you know, there. I have a. Actually, I should give some props out to the MIDI cake. So I use this all the time for my pads and my bass sounds. It's just so cool and easy to use. So I've created these two patches in pigments. Actually, it's three patches. So this is made up actually of two patches. And I can morph between them. So that bottom end is one pigments patch, and then that's another pigments patch, which has some really beautiful, you know, some really beautiful overtones. And they will morph in and out. And I'm assuming people are tuning in because you're interested in ambient music. And one thing about ambient music is to have a lot of movement in your patches. And pigments is super easy to do that. Actually, the two VSTs I really use all the time are pigments and Omnisphere. I mean, I have so many other ones, and you know, they're quite good and they sound good, but at the end of the day, I always come back to pigments and Omnisphere. Actually, the piano patch I use all the time is something I made in Omnisphere. And I can adjust some vibrato with reverb. Anyway. So I'm going to just play some stuff now. And lately I've been using this really cool vocal patch I found inside Omnisphere. It's not coming up. Oh. Right. I have this little MIDI keyboard. There we go. I'll try to hold it up to my little camera. Let's see, I'll hold it up. I don't want to unplug it because that'll screw things up. Sorry, that'll mess things up if I unplug it. But oh, it was working. That's laid plans. But what I could do is I could just go back in here and just pick. Yeah, yeah, yep. There we go. And it's got about three different bebops, depending on how hard you strike the keys. Velocity sensitive. And that's an omnisphere. All right. Well, thanks for joining. I'm gonna play around a little bit for maybe, I don't know. I'm not going to say how long. I don't believe in time. No, that's not true. I do believe in time. But I'm just going to play, and I'm going to mute the microphone, and I'll be back. Thanks. Thanks for joining. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the chat, and I'll see them when I get back. Okay. All right. Well, that was a little jam session with VCV Rack and Euro Rack. All the racks were here today. Let me get rid of the VCV Rack window now. And the more I use the Oxy Coral, the more I love it. It's got some really, really great sounds. The Plats on steroids. Consider it like 8 Plats rolled into one. Yeah. So that's really cool. And the MIDI cake art, playing bass and pads, and of course my 2 East Beasts, generating sequences and playing lead lines and a bunch of stuff in VCV Rack. So I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed that jam. I'll post the video in a day. It takes YouTube a day or so to process. And thanks for joining. Thanks for coming. And if you have any questions, put them in the chat, or feel free to, once I have the video posted, make a comment on YouTube. I'd appreciate that. Subscribe, like the channel. I will be performing if you are in the Santa Cruz area on Friday night, June 20th, starting at 8 o'clock from 8 to 9:30. I will be performing a 90-minute set at this place called this place called Mellow Mellow. It's a kava bar in downtown Santa Cruz. 1101 Pacific, I think it is. Anyway, I'll be doing a 90-minute set there at Mellow Mellow in Santa Cruz on Friday night, June 20th, from 8 to 9:30. If you're in the area, come by. It'll be a lot of fun. And thanks for joining. And next Wednesday, I'll be back. Hopefully, I'll have some more of these cakes worked out. And I'll see you then. Have a great evening. Bye.